Hi, I'm Lauren Postgen, and I am with the blog Secret Note, and I'm here with Alan Epley, singer of The Life and Times. So, how's it going?
Good. Good, really good.
Good.
How are you?
Alright.
That's alright.
Cool. You decided to call yourself
The Life and Times. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think we wanted something open-ended,
Okay.
something that wasn't so immediately identifiable. You know, if you call yourself like Scar Factor, you know, or something, it brings up something. And I don't know. There was a lot of band animal names at the time, and still is. And I just wanted to avoid that. Something that left it more open, you know.
Okay.
And it can be as dark as you want, or as not as dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't define us. So.
Okay. And you were in a band before called Shiner.
That's right.
Correct.
That's right.
And what happened and why did you make the switch?
It was, we had just done our time, you know, we'd been around for 10 years, and felt like we had done what we wanted to do, and hadn't met certain goals we wanted to meet, weren't being real productive. We're still buddies and all. We're actually still really good friends, all of us, and it just was time, you know, and we weren't being real creative. We were at a point where not only had we not sold a million records like we wanted, or even 100, even 100. We hadn't sold 100 records like we had, but it just, we weren't being super creative writing songs. So we wanted to take that moment. We were like, let's do this. Let's do something else.
Yeah.
You know. So it was good.
Do you feel like you're being super creative now?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I feel very creative.
Good.
And we've had a pretty good output so far since then. We've been prolific, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I also read somewhere that you built your own recording studio
Yeah.
in a basement.
Oh, yeah.
Why did you decide to do this?
To take it into our own hands, because we can't really afford to go into a bigger studio to go, you know, to spend less time. We wanted to spend probably the same amount of money we might spend in a bigger studio. Actually, a lot less than we'd spend in a big studio, and spend 6 months making a record. So that you get the kind of like experience of like writing in the studio,
Yeah.
you know, that is, you don't get to do, you know. Indie rock, all you can do is like just practice up. Okay, we got 5 days to do everything. Let's go in and do it, you know.
Yeah.
And if it's right or wrong, it's just done, you know. So at this point, we were able to like put down our own tracks. We bought a bunch of mics and kind of like rehabbed my basement in my house back in Kansas City, and it was the best case scenario. It turned out, you know, it could have sucked, but in case it did, we decided to have somebody else mix the record.
Okay.
And so that was always our plan.
You recently moved to Chicago,
Mhm.
right? And you said that all the other two members of your band live.
We're all spread out.
Well,
We're
how
all
do you
spread out.
do this then?
That's a good question. I don't know yet. We've been hooking up like every 2.5 months for shows and to write and record. Our studio is still at a loft, in a friend's loft in Kansas City.
Okay.
So Eric, our bass player, lives in Lower East Side in Manhattan, and I live here, and Chris, our drummer, still lives in Kansas City. So we just kind of make that our home base. And
Right. And since this is a blog about live shows,
Right.
who do you like to see live and why?
who do I like to see live? I really like Murder by Death a lot. One of my favorite bands. What else do I like? I'm a big Doves fan. There's a band called Fucked Up. Can we say that on here?
Of course.
Yeah. I was always big fans of like bands that would just kind of churn up grooves for a while, like Trans Am and, you know, that kind of stuff. So, shit. Now I'm going to start cussing all over now that you guys allow me to cuss.
We can all do it.
Gosh, hard to remember all. I like Sweet Cobra and those guys, and Russian Circles, and all my Chicago brethren. So
See.
I have to shout those guys out.
Gotcha. And so when I was listening to Tragic Boogie, it's
Yeah.
like a really grandiose and like large sound.
Thank
and
you.
I really wish that I could have seen the show because I don't understand how you could do it live.
Right.
So how do you do it live?
It is. We decided to take an approach with like old REM records,
Okay.
where like used to be like they would do all kinds of instrumentation and stuff on it, but a lot of the instrumentation would would mirror the actual, they would have a piano bass line or something that would follow the guitar bass line. So it wasn't necessarily mandatory live. So not to say that we don't try to recreate a lot of the stuff, we do. But we all three of us play keyboards, so and we all kind of mix off in different places. So, but we also, the ethic is to try to not feel like we have to create everything, but to recreate everything live, but to do kind of a live version, you know, so that it would give more value to a live recording.
That's true. Okay.
So
you write the songs, correct?
I'm definitely the seed writer, but I could not take credit for the whole thing. And the same with Shiner. I mean, it's always a group effort, always. Because my demos sound like me, and then it always ends up sounding so much better. You know, it sounds like the demo, kind of. It's the same chord progression, maybe, but we always try to, I always think that you're going to get a better product from your band if everybody has a vested interest, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, if everyone is just playing your fucking parts, who gives a shit, you know? It's like, but if they've put in and you know, have a vested interest in this thing, and we're all in this family, and it means, you know, we're all part of it. So, and that said, this new thing we're writing as we write tracks is we're really kind of improvising and writing as a band, for the first time ever in my life. A lot of times I'll come in with here's this section, kind of, and it goes, I don't know, and then here's this section, and we'll make something out of it. But now we're just kind of I don't have anything, let's go, and kind of make it up as we go, and it's turned out great.
Do you prefer it that way?
I don't know. Well, I'll tell you here in about 3 or 4 months when we're done. I think I do, because it's really exciting, you know. It's really screwing while you're, respectfully.
Okay.
But it's right. There's certain sexual thing about it, you know.
Who have you played with?
We played with lots of really great bands. We've been playing with Get Up Kids. We just did a big tour with the Get Up Kids.
Yeah, I saw that on your website.
Really weird. It was really strange.
Very different sound.
It was a very different sound, but awesome. It turns out they're fucking huge. But we play with Pinback and Pelican and tours, you know, and Murder by Death and Appleseed Cast and Sparta and you know. It's a strange mix of things that we're very lucky to kind of mix in, and we keep thinking, who's our perfect tour, you know, and we just don't know. I'm not sure who this perfect tour is. I don't know. We're big Doves fans, you know. That would be a pretty appropriate tour, but since they don't know who we are, then
they will after this.
After this, they will, boys.
You could eat any band and gain their abilities.
Would probably be Flaming Lips,
okay,
and Pink Floyd.
So every website that I've read that has reviewed you, everyone's kind of oh, I don't know what we can headband it, what they sound like,
right?
Blah, blah, blah. Do you like that? Do you want to be able to be put in? Well, probably.
It sure would make it easier. Yeah, no, I hear you. It would make it easier if we did just fit into some sort of landscape, you know. You know, we're not ignored by press. You know, we always get good, at least fair to good reviews from relevant press, and so that says something, you know, in a world where things are changing and printed press is, you know, for shit, yeah. And I don't know. I really don't know if we turned around and started selling a lot of records and did much bigger shows. I would say, wow, this whole experiment of not sounding like any sound is really paying off. Yeah. I don't know if it is. We're having to hoe our own hoe. I don't know, or our own field. Yeah. Row. Hoe our own row.
Hoe our own row.
And yeah. So, which I am comfortable with, because if you make music that you like and nobody else likes it, at least you like it. And if you make music, that you don't like and you're making for somebody else, and then they don't like it, then nobody likes it. Yeah. And then you're fucked.
That's true. That's the worst.
So.